King of the baggers. And no, we're not talking about a gay porn site.
Could be. That's another video.
What's king of the baggers?
Bagger racing. So taking what you'd consider a geezer glide or the old daddy wagon and having some fun with it and taking a bike that is a big, usually traditionally Harley or Indian touring machine with bags, that's why they're called baggers, and souping them up and putting them on a racetrack and getting up to no good.
Pretty much taking a bike that is definitely not meant for racing, meant for comfort and cruising around with your wife, and that's it, and just racing it.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to the old adage, better drive a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow. And to see like how fast and how nasty you can get these bikes that are definitely not made to do what they're doing on it, how to get them to do it, and how to get good actual professional racers on them and see how much fun you could possibly have on them.
That's the key. If you get a real rider, then you'll really know what it could do. So if you get me on it, I'll go around the track, but it's
it's
going to be leisurely.
Yeah, I think it's a racing league now. That's kind of neat. That started.
That's being taken seriously. I think that's what we should mention too. Is like manufacturers and riders are taking this seriously. It's not a gimmick or a joke or anything.
Yeah, it's a full-on event. I mean, it's only really in the past few years has it kind of become a thing, and I really think it's taken off and given a lot of energy into motorcycle racing in general right now.
Because it's so different.
It's so different, and I feel like there's so many people that are into the Harley or Indian brand and into those bikes and ride those bikes, and they don't care about the ZX10R or something. They're not into Euro, MotoGP or whatever it is. And this is it's like a NASCAR bike. So, you know what I mean? It's like it's big and it's American and it's it's got American riders and American champions, and it's people are, oh, hey, I know that bike, and I think my dad's got one of those bikes, or I got a Street Glide, and wow, this guy's like racing it, and it's gaining a lot of momentum with some really experienced and some really good riders are racing them with some phenomenal results on these things.
Do you know where it started? Like how many years ago or something like that? How long it's been around?
Okay, so don't quote me on this, but I do know that it was only a few years ago that they did a sponsored there was King of the Baggers. It was 1 or 2 races. I think it was at Laguna Seca or something a few years ago.
Could you imagine taking a bike like that down the corkscrew of Laguna Seca?
It's the gnarliest.
That track is scary as hell on any vehicle. I don't know if I want to do that on a bagger.
It is the nastiest because there's some uphill and downhill spots, and the downhill spots, these things are ripping. But basically, I don't even know. I think it came from these guys building performance baggers in the custom scene, and it just kind of gained traction. Man, that'd be sick around a track. And there's some videos out there of guys, riding them, on a track day or something like that they've built their bikes up to, replace, pretty well everything except for the frame and engine, and in order to make these things go around the track pretty well. But it's only a few years old. I mean, we're talking 2-3 really years. I mean, last year, 2020, I think was the first actual racing league version of it, which is only 2 years ago.
Which I think if we're talking racing, what's exciting to me about that it's only a few years old, is the bikes are still attainable. Like if I think MotoGP, it is so far gone. It's insanely cool. I'm not taking anything away from MotoGP.
No.
But the team behind it, the engineers, the how much they go and get that split second on every single corner, every race, it's not attainable for the average guy.
No, it's not.
If this is only 2 years old, the bikes aren't so far gone that they're battling for milliseconds.
No, and I think the other thing that's important to know is MotoGP is teams of engineers. It's the F1 of racing, right?
Yeah.
So everything is at its top tier. This is a stock bike, purposely a stock motorcycle with bolt-on parts. It's that's it. Okay, what can you put on it? And it's the frame. You still have to have the bags on it. That's the whole point. They don't take the bags off.
Do they put anything in the bags?
No, because I don't know. Obviously
weight.
not to add weight. But I mean, this is just a bike that you can buy. It has to be here's it can be. Right now, it's pretty well Harleys and Indians. I mean, that's it. But it's bolt-on parts. So obviously you're going to do your suspension, you're going to lift it up, you're going to do your engine, you're going to do, I mean, guys are, the innovation that's coming on these bikes where guys, these teams, and these teams aren't like multi-million-dollar MotoGP teams. It's like SNS Cycle or like Saddleman seats, like, and the innovation, they're like, hey, we need whole new types of seats, whole new types of rear sets, where to put your feet on the bike so you can get more lean angle. How do we get the most out of these like Olin suspension, let's say, that already exists that you can buy, but like how do we get more out of it? And guys are throwing everything they can to it, and it's not like it's multi-million dollars. It's tens, if not $100,000 for these machines, but not millions.
Which is cool.
You can buy it. Like you're like, oh man, they use this shock and they use this stuff and they took the windscreen off and they put a custom seat on it, which is whatever, and then have at her, bud. Like, go friggin' race the thing. It's rad.
And like anything racing-wise, the neat part too is when it trickles down to the consumer. And if you're saying this thing's only about 2 years old of traction, we're already seeing the trickle down in production bikes.
Yeah, I mean the first year, and I could be wrong. I don't know this for fact, but the Indian Challenger was the one that came out. That's the liquid-cooled overhead cam bike. Then Indian came out with the touring bike with the frame-mounted fairing. They came out with that, and that kind of spanked everything out there. It was like it was the bagger to beat because it was more performance-oriented, and people really started going hard on that. And then Harley just this year released the ST models of their touring bikes, and oh, wait a minute, with taller suspension, with stiffer suspension, with the bigger engine. So, I mean, it's carrying on.
That's directly trickled down from this bike series. From this racing series.
100%.
We would not have the Harley STs if it wasn't for King of the Bagger.
No, but I don't think we would have King of the Baggers if it wasn't for... It's a natural progression from the choppers.
Yeah.
From the mid-2000s.
Which was like cool when you were in it, and if you look back on it now, it's really cringy.
Yeah, flames and raked out bikes. And, I mean, it was such a scene, and no matter what, it's going to change. And right now, the style, the vibe is, as everything's changed, is getting performance machines. And the fact that, like, you have Harley guys, like, I'm a Harley guy, and I'm like, I want to go race a bagger. I want to do a track day on my Harley. Why not? Let's see how you can ride these things. We're going to do that, by the way. But it's so interesting to see how it's working and to have actual money behind it. You have Harley Davidson and Indian putting factory teams in there, putting money into the sport. It's getting... national coverage, ESPN, stuff like that. I mean, this is getting way more accessible than...
Which I think it's smart of Harley because it rejuvenates the brand. And Indian, it's I don't know. We'll talk about Indian another time, but I think it's good for Harley to kind of appeal to a different crowd. If you're talking performance, I love performance, and I wouldn't have necessarily put the two and two together.
Yeah, it's... Again, slow bike fast, fast bike slow. These are not in comparison.
But they're still thinking about it, which is what I like.
The fact that you can have fun and people are getting bikes that aren't really made to do this, and people just want to ride them fast and have professionals ride them. Like there's guys from Moto America. There's like some old MotoGP test riders stuff that are riding these bikes, and these are some of the best riders in the world. And they're having fun riding these big bikes. It's a new challenge. It hasn't really been done, a bike this size in racing. Like not even close. Like it's kind of a new thing, and it's garnering a lot of attention. The new season kicks off in Daytona, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be something to watch. So I'm really excited to see some of these racers. The guy from last year, Kyle Wyman, won the championship, and he also rides for BMW in Moto America, so full Harley regalia.
Is he riding on R1800 as well?
No, there's no Beamer. You know what? I don't know what the rules are. There's no Beamer baggers or Kawasaki or
the R1800 would be a contender.
I don't think it would be. I hate to say that. I don't think it would be. But
you'd
you have
these guys. The heads right away.
Yeah, I mean these guys are racing Harleys in the baggers, full Harley team rider with the Screaming Eagle whole 9 yards, and gets off, and then right after walks to his Beamer and then rides his super bike across the same track. Like these guys know what they're doing. It's a new challenge for them, and it's something more interesting to watch. Getting more of people that wouldn't care about motorcycle racing, wouldn't care about if someone's watching Motor America Superbike racing, but if it's on right after the King of the Baggers, man, you got how many Kyles you got drinking monsters watching that after? A lot, and I'm going to be watching it, so I'm very excited.
The first time I saw it, I thought it was like a joke or something, or I was like or testing or something. And then when you actually see it, it's like this it's impressive. It's impressive. Like this is entertaining to watch because you can tell that they're muscling the bike. They're fighting this thing to get it to submit to what they want it to do versus a modern super bike. It looks effortless. It is not. And if you're a professional, you make it look effortless. But if the professional is making it look hard, it's
difficult to race, but it's a neat challenge, and they've come a long way. I mean, with what they've been doing the last 2 years, I mean, they're shaving lap times. These guys are throwing everything they can at it from these bolt-on parts. And anytime you have, win on Sunday, sell on Monday, this is only going to be better for guys that are trying to, build up their machines. There's going to be ingenuity. There's going to be new products available. If you've never seen it before, just imagine a professional race car driver taking your grandpa's Buick Century from like 93, all loosey-goosey, but has a nice big, V8 in it or something, and like, let's hit in the track with it. Like, how do you make that actually deal with the track? And it's obviously very entertaining and like super fun, and I can't wait to watch it this year.
So let's say I wanted to get as close as I can to King of the Baggers in terms of performance. What I would be thinking of doing is probably starting off with a great base of bike. So I think I'm on the same wavelength as you as what I would do in terms of wanting to experience those bikes. What would you do?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I do. Not that I have to fight about it forever.
I think you've already done it too.
No, well, to a certain extent with my Softail, but
disclaimer. Terry's girlfriend, he did not put a deposit on a new bike. This is fictional. Okay, go.
Thank you. So no, what I would do is obviously start with the Street Glide or Road Glide. Personally, just familiar with the bike itself, ridden it a lot versus an Indian. I would obviously do suspension.
You wouldn't go with the Lowrider ST?
No, because I don't know if it's a bagger. Because it's not a touring frame. It's not a touring bike, so it's got a different frame.
But it's got bags.
Yeah,
but it's got a fairing.
I would have to consult the powers that be to see if I could enter it. But if that was the case, of course I'd enter it because it's going to spank everything else. But if I have to go with the touring bike, go Road Glide for the frame-mounted fairing.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do suspension, front and rear, big time, 100% right away. You got to change out those dust bars. You're going to pull off everything that doesn't matter, and everything for weight. You got to keep the bags on. There's a lot of companies out there, there's guys putting rear sets on these bikes, nice, different handlebar stuff. You're going to have to do a custom seat and just go rip the thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, how, you know what I mean? There's going to be, within a few years at a track day, you're going to have your green group, your yellow group, and your red group on the sport bikes, and then you're going to have your,
orange Harley group.
Orange group, which is just a bunch of Harley guys out there just ripping on these, way too expensive machines, but that's how you do it. You just lift the thing. They've got lots of power. Obviously, get as much more as you can, but you're not going to turbo it or something. You're just gonna you're just gonna lift it, put some good springs on it, and try not to die at the corkscrew in a second, I guess.
Yeah. I wouldn't be diving down the corkscrew with a bagger. I'd be scared of doing it with any bike, so I think I'd try to use a bike that's should do what I want it to do.
I think it's a good bet, and you know what? It's coming, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to try some more bagger bikes.
We'll rip them, man. It'll be fun.
Done.
All right, so that was King of the Baggers. Obviously, Jeremy, Terry here with Pink Orange. Let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below how you would build your bagger. Which would you choose? Would you go Indian? Would you go Harley? Street Glide, Challenger. What are you going to do? Brands, I'm going Olin's all the way for suspension. Maybe you're a progressive guy. So let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.